The entire day you've spent bullying me.
That's just because you was Guatemalan, but that's it.
Jules, do you hear this?
Yeah,
Nah,
this
it's
is
Are
because
you listening to
disrespectful.
this?
see, Joel, there's like a little rivalry within the Spanish community going on, and Guatemalans just happen to be like the biggest L of the entire Latino community. So
Wow.
it's
I
just one
would
of
say
those
you
things.
guys took the L, but okay.
Wait,
Ain't
Mamba,
nobody
where's your
says that.
people from?
Ain't nobody say that.
Mamba, where's your people from?
Oh, sorry, my people Mexican.
Okay.
I took the what's it called? Ancestry and whatnot, or my sister did at least. And I was surprised. I was like, okay, I guess I'm all types of shit. That's cool. Wasn't expecting it.
Mad people tried to conquer Mexico.
Yeah, exactly, man. We had it rough. You know, it wasn't it wasn't all peaches and cream down there. Shit, still
No, it
is.
wasn't.
Still is
I
tough.
mean,
You know what I'm saying?
you're living in right now what used to be Mexico.
Right, man. Yo, Mexicans really had it bad, but Guatemalans too, though, because people don't realize that Guatemala and Mexico both used to be part of New Spain, which was
Mhm.
one country at a time. So
Yep.
really, we part of the same country. And if you think about it, I was just saying this earlier, but Guatemala is Mayan, like for the most part, and
Yeah.
southern Mexico is also Mayan for the most part. So truth be told, like Mexican and Guatemalan, the rivalry is kind of dumb because they really can. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, really, all of Central America
Yeah,
is
yeah, exactly.
Mayan.
We all, yo, all Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Like speaking countries, they have mixture of native, black, and Spanish for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
when it comes down to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, the beef don't make no damn sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I
but
just got
everybody
back
want to
from.
feel special, you know. So it's what it is. But I just like to mess with Damaris over here because she an easy target.
Nah, saying you need more unity
I'm an
across the
easy
community.
target.
Ooh, there's more messages.
Oh, we got the beef up in here. Let me see.
Well, Mamba, I want to agree with what you're saying. Do you know that the percentage of Afro Mexicans is less than 2%? Just want to run some of that by you. Brazil has the highest population of white people in all of the Americas.
Okay, just to address that real quick. There's kind of like a misconfusion amongst like the Mexican population about like how many of them actually identify as like Afro Latino because there was a good amount of slaves that was brought through Mexico at one point. Okay, it wasn't as much as places like Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic, for example, right? But there was a significant amount. Except Mexicans do not like to identify as being mixed with African because Spain had a what's called a caste system in Mexico, and that was like extremely against like black and indigenous. So they made it so that you could not marry and your status in society was deemed like extremely low based on who you were dating, like racially. So that's why Mexicans are mixed, like they do have a little bit of African in them, but Mexicans would be the last people to tell you that, if that makes any sort of sense, because it's like in like bred into their head or some shit, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, Mexico like does have a history with like it's really dope. Actually, we had a black president before anyone else did. Like we had the first black president. You know what I'm saying, in Latin America. So I'm just saying, you know, you know, and like you go to places like Guerrero, places like that. You know what I'm saying? You'll definitely see the African influence. You'll see it in the music like son jarocho. You'll see it in, you know, like you'll see it. It's obviously more skewed towards like Native American, like indigenous, but it's there. Like it's a mixture still.
Yeah, you're 1,000% correct. I'm actually African American, but I studied Spanish in college, and particularly race relations and the African influence in his Spanish speaking countries. And it's kind of wild, like across the Latino, Latinx diaspora and community, how I mean, wild and not because it's a part of colonialism and just
Right.
general anti-blackness that a lot of Spanish-speaking countries don't recognize the African and indigenous parts of their roots and would prefer to more so identify with Spain, their conquerors. But
It's like if you look at like places like the Dominican Republic, for
yep,
example, and
exactly.
look how they treat the Haitians because they're darker.
When they were
You know what I'm saying?
right, when they were all part of one country. Actually, is wild. Dominicans celebrate their independence from Haiti and not from Spain.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
it's wild. It's wild. But
Yeah. Let's play the rest of these before we continue this. This is really interesting, by the way.
I hear what you're saying. My protest was that you suggested that all peoples of all Latin American countries are a homogenous mix, that they're all the same. You just mentioned the diversity in just Mexico, so I think you're kind of contradicting yourself. That's what I wanted to point out there, but I actually don't know. Okay, it's not like when you identify as Jewish, somebody might not be able to tell you're Jewish or not. It's pretty hard to not be identified as black if you're black. Um, I mean, you wouldn't have to be like too you wouldn't have to really scrutinize people. Like, I don't know. This is something that I think is problematic.
Yo, so let me address that real quick, because I just want to say, yeah, I wasn't really saying that. I wasn't really saying that like everybody in Mexico is like mixed black, like they're black. Basically, that's not what I was saying. Like what I'm saying is that Mexico's culture was undeniably influenced in their history by African contributions, just like all of Latin America. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to any Latin American country, say for example, minus maybe like Argentina or something, and you can point to, you know, the significant contributions in the music, in the food, you know, and in the culture. And if you go to Mexico, Mexico is hella diverse, you know what I'm saying? So it's a diverse place with diverse people. Not all of it's the same. But if you go to the United States, then what's going to happen in the United States? Well, people are going to generalize. They're going to say, oh, you know, they're going to assume all Spanish is the same. Or they're going to assume something about Mexicans or Dominicans or Puerto Ricans or whatever you call it. You know what I mean? So I was just pointing out that Mexico is a melting pot. It's a mixture. You know, they've had generations of all types of different races, really, even Asian at one point, you know, but we had the French, the Spanish, we even have German and Irish in there. And then we got plenty of African roots, and we got plenty of indigenous roots, mostly, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I was saying. Like, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying like everybody the same. I'm saying everybody different. But as a country, it's diverse. Like there's definitely African influence in Mexican history, is what I was saying. You feel me?
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, we all black, man. We all black. Blackity black. Black as fuck. We all white too. White as shit. God damn it. We all the same race, the human race.
Yeah, I would definitely say that North African cultures definitely had a big influence on Spanish settlers, Moors, and other North African peoples. That I can't deny. Props on the history.
What was I about to say? Oh yeah, North Africa too. A lot of people don't realize when the Spanish first came here, a lot of them was Moors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, like their ancestors. Because keep in mind, Spain was occupied by North Africa for a while. You know what I mean?
700 years to be exact.
Yeah, right. I didn't
Like
even know that was the number. So you know for a fact, a lot of the Spaniards, like, even if you notice, like if you pay attention to the architecture in Mexico, right? Like you'll notice like the almost like Eastern North African style architecture down there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was talking more about in terms of the music, like all the instruments they have down there, a lot of them are Spanish instruments, but the beats they use, right? The beats they use, a lot of them come from like the what's it? It's the North Atlantic slave trade or whatever you call it. I forget. But West Africa. A lot of those beats are West African. You know what I'm saying? And then if you look at the like the style in which they play it, it's indigenous. You see what I'm saying? Like they use some flutes, they're using like indigenous customs and ways of doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on where you go. Like I would say northern Mexico is more Spanish orientated. You know what I'm saying? I would say like central to southern Mexico is a little more African influence, and then southern Mexico is more indigenous influence. That's what I would say.